Hi and welcome to Lizard Studios. Today we are going to do a really nice project. It has to do with landscape and the way the different artists painted landscape. And today we are going to do a landscape with textures that we are going to be making by rubbing textures to the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second, okay? So now we need to get our materials ready. And the materials are going to be today a colored cardboard. It could be in a warm color, and I will tell you why later on. Remember, warm colors are red, yellow, pinks, browns, okay? Perfect. You're gonna need a pencil. You're gonna need a pair of scissors. You're gonna need a glue stick. You're going to need also cool colored crayons, greens, blues, purples, okay? You are also going to need some textures, for example, that you could rub on. For example, I took this from a weaving project that I had. It's like a little thing that is made of like metal, but it's flexible and you weave in it, and I just took it from there, okay? But there are more simple things that you could find. For example, the apple wrappers. You know, the apples come in here, you wrap them up in the supermarket, and then when you pick them, they have this little thing. Also, onions and garlic come in little bags that also have textures, and you could save those for this project. This is a bow, a hair bow, okay, that I took, and like you see, they have some texture also, so you could save things like this. And this is a piece of paper. It's like cardboard paper, but it was inside a box when I took out some things from the box, and I said, oh, this is really cool, I'm gonna keep it just in case I need it someday. So things that have textures like these, okay? So we put all of them in our little tray. Remember to share it with your partners at your table and leave everything in the middle so everyone could share, okay? So let's begin. So take a white piece of paper, okay, because you're gonna need it right now. Take this white piece of paper, just one, and what we want to do is prepare the borders, okay, so later on we could mat it onto our cardboard, okay? So the first thing we do is take your scissors and cut around like we usually do to give it the proper size. So let's begin. Okay, so now that I have cut around the paper, I see that it's perfect. So what do? I take my piece of paper, put it right here because I'm going to be using it, and the cardboard to the size, so when I finish my project, I can use it, okay? First thing that I wanted to tell you about today was a landscape. What is a landscape? A landscape is nature. When you go outside and you see maybe a picture of the seaside, a seaside is a landscape, or you see a picture of the forest, that's a landscape, or you see a picture of mountains and trees, that's another type of landscape. Many artists use landscapes for their work, okay, in their paintings, in their drawings, and in their works, all right, because it's nice to be at your house and look at a landscape in your living room, maybe in your bedroom. So artists are inspired by landscapes. When we paint or draw a landscape, we use the paper this way, horizontally. That is why sometimes this is called landscape, okay? So when the teacher tells you, okay, we're gonna use the paper in a landscape format, it means horizontal, okay? Now, let's begin. And I'll explain to you a few things, okay? A few things about a landscape. We're gonna look at the paper and we're gonna see it, okay? First of all, in a landscape, there are three planes, okay? There's the foreground, which is right here in the foreground, is what you see right in front of you if you were standing in the landscape. Then there is a middle ground right here, where things are further away from you, and then there is a background. Another thing in landscapes is the color. In landscapes, the color of the foreground is brighter and you can see more details because you are closer to it. And the visual effect that you have is that you see things in a more vivid color, like in this painting. In the middle ground, you see more medium colors, okay? And you don't see that many details because it's further away from you. And in the background, you see very light colors and almost no detail because, like your eyes, when you see far away, you can't see the small little details. So you might see a little beetle in the front, but that little beetle is not going to be in the background because you're not going to see it. Maybe he is there hiding, but you're not going to see it because details are seen in the foreground and not in the background, okay? Now, there's another really nice painting that I really like by Alexander Wyant. He's an American artist, was an American artist, and in his painting, An Old Clearing, we could see a river that flows from the back to the front, and we see different sizes of trees. We see big trees in the front, we see middle trees, like medium trees in the middle ground, and then in the background, we see smaller trees, okay? So that is exactly what we're going to do today. We are going to begin fixing our paper with a texture rubbing for our just so incredible landscape that we are going to do by rubbing and by printing or using stamps, okay? So let's begin. I am going to take these patterns that I have here, and I think the ones that I am going to pick is this one for the foreground, this one for the middle ground, and then this one for the background, okay? Because they're harder and I think they're gonna work out. But you could try anything out. Anything you have at home, you could try out. So let's put this one in the front and pick a dark green. Okay, so I'm gonna do the front dark green because that's where you can see the most details. All right, so I'm gonna pick a dark green. And oh, look at this, how cool. Wow. And I am going to paint in the foreground. This is what's closer to you. Okay, this is where we could put some bushes, or we could put some trees, or some flowers, or some ladybirds, or some beetles, and we're gonna be able to see them, okay? Now I'm gonna take a lighter green, yeah, and I am going to do the middle ground. So remember, to do a rubbing, you have to put the texture at the bottom, okay, and the paper on the top, just like this, and you have to hold everything down and rub. So let's see how this goes. Oh, look at that. Oh, very nice. Now this here is the middle ground. Remember that, boys and girls? The middle ground of our landscape, okay? Everything's gonna work out at the end, you'll see. And now we are going to rub in the background, okay? And in the background, I think I am going to use this one that I told you. This ribbon, okay? And then I am going to pick now some light green. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna leave some sky also, okay? Some sky. So I'll use some blue in the back, like that. So let's see. Background. Very light, with very little details, you see? Very little details. even though I'm pressing to get that detail in there. Okay, so you have to press. Whoop. Almost like breaking my crayon, but pressing. And look at those details, okay? Now I have my foreground, middle ground, and background. And I am going to add some blue, light blue, to the sky. I think the same manner. Yeah, I think the same way. I'm just gonna add a little bit of blue, light blue, just to have that sky in the back. There we go. And here we go. Here we have our different grounds. Foreground, middle ground, background, and the sky. So remember that today we have worked with foreground, middle ground, background, and the sky of a landscape, like these famous artists did, Monet and also Alexander Wyant, okay, in their beautiful landscapes. We are preparing to put all the details of that landscape, and we're gonna do that in the next class by printing. You're gonna love it. So get ready and have a nice day, have a nice week, and I'll see you next week for some exciting paint and messiness. Bye bye.